UFC Fight Night Nashville is this weekend. I'm giving you my picks and predictions for the entire card. I believe I'm 167 and 85 right now. Check the thumbnail and the comments or the caption for the exact record. I believe it's 167 and 85. Did go 8 and 3 on the International Fight Week card. Should have done a little bit better, but you know what? Felipe Lima, your time has come, buddy. But we're going to start with predictions on this Nashville card. It's actually not that bad of a card. It's not. I wish the main event was a little bit more high level, higher ranked guys, but the fights are pretty good. I'll keep it a buck. The fights are pretty good. We have some ranked fighters on there, so like that matters. But we actually have some highly anticipated matchups. The first one of the night's Fatima Klein versus Melissa Martinez. Fatima Klein's going to win this one. I think she's very, very good. Melissa Martinez, yes, is coming off a win, but I don't think she's that good. I'm sure we don't want to go into this one too deep. Pause. Unless it's Fatima Klein. She beat Elise Ardeline, which again, that's another girl coming off a win. Now, Melissa Martinez is Mexican, but I think she's going to get dominated so bad that a robbery is impossible. So I'm going to go with Fatima Klein to win this fight. Either a 30-27/26 or a late round finish. I can see her implementing the grappling and being much better. I can see her being faster on the feet and outstriking Melissa Martinez. I feel like Fatima Klein's a sneaky baddie, dude. I guess we'll find out when she walks in the octagon again. We'll see. But I'm picking Fatima Klein. I know she's actually very good. Mitch Ramirez versus Mike Davis, another one that should be pretty straightforward. I'm going Mike Davis. I think he's a very, very good fighter. Yes, he lost to Fares Ziam in a very, very close fight, but it's Fares Ziam. Fares Ziam is very, very good, ranked caliber at lightweight. And I think Mike Davis is also very good. He's got power. He's very, very strong, very physical. And I think he'll be able to out-grapple Mitch Ramirez here. I think he'll be able to outstrike against Mitch Ramirez here. I expect him to win this one dominantly. I'm going to say a submission round one. I think he puts on an absolutely masterful performance from Mike Davis here. And look at that. Mike Davis performing twice in 1 year. He might walk out there and have his best performance yet against one of the lower levels of comp he's faced. But I'm picking Mike Davis to get this one done by finish. Submission specifically. Walter Walker, Kennedy, and Zechniku. Dude, I'm a huge fan of Walter Walker. I'm not going to lie. I think this guy's funny as fuck. Hilarious when he was on Show Me the Money, when he was talking about, like, how are you related to John? Oh, my father, fuck his mother. Now, Kennedy and Zechniku is good, right? Skillful, light heavyweight, coming up to heavyweight, and has proved his skill so far in his fights. I know his last win is over an injured Chris Barnett. Oh, actually, he knocked out Lucas Bursky, too, but then he knocked out Chris Barnett. I mean, these aren't sick wins, bro. Like, so is it okay to say that he's like better than everyone up here at heavyweight? These aren't great wins. He hasn't his grappling tested at all at this division. He went to a split with Ovince St. Preux. He got knocked out by Jacoby in the first, which is, nothing to be ashamed of. Dustin Jacoby's a dog. Now he's coming back after 2 back-to-back first-round knockouts, and he's going to face a grappling-heavy Walter Walker. I'm going to take Walter Walker as the underdog here. I think he's going to be able to get his double leg that he's very, very good at getting, and he's going to be able to dominate Kennedy and Zechniku. I'm willing to bet that Kennedy and Zechniku is a favorite because he has a win over Lucas Bursky by knockout, and Walter Walker lost. But that was the first performance in the UFC for Walter Walker. He looked a lot more uncomfortable than he had in previous fights. Walter Walker's also coming off 2 back-to-back finishes in a row. Submissions in round 1 of Junior Tafa and Dontel Mays. I actually ranked the Dontel Mays win higher than any of the wins that Kennedy and Zechniku had at heavyweight. Junior Tafa, it's kind of like the fucking Bursky win, honestly. It's pretty close. But anyway, I'm going to say Walter Walker wins this fight. I think he gets a submission here. I can see ground and pound TKO, but I'm going to say in round 2, he ends up getting a submission. Maybe round 1. I think he's going to be able to get his takedowns, dominate Kennedy and Zechniku on the ground, land some good ground and pound elbows, and I don't think it's going to be a leg lock this time. I don't think so. As funny as it would be, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to expect an armbar. I mean, not an armbar, an arm triangle. I think he's going to be able to find his way to mount and end up latching up an arm triangle for a submission. So I actually think Walter Walker as the underdog's a great pick here to get it done. Listen, Kennedy Nzechukwu is very good at using his long-range weapons, the teep kicks up the middle, the jabs, has some good counter power. But I think Walter Walker sneaky has a chin, never been knocked out. Mind you, that never been knocked out here at heavyweight. And he just has such a grappling advantage. Yes, Nzechukwu the prettier striker, but I think he's going to try and stink this up, and I think Walter Walker is going to be able to get him up against the cage and end up getting his takedowns. I think Walter Walker, as far as the heavyweight division goes, I think he's pretty good. I do. I think this guy's going to have the sneaky top 10 run. You know how we're all like, Waldo Cortez Acosta stinks. He's never going to be anything. I see Walter Walker going on a Waldo Cortez Acosta run right now. 5, 6 fights in a row. Ends up getting to be the number 8 ranked guy. Maybe flukes a win over a really old Curtis Blades at the time. And then finds himself in the title picture against Tom Aspinall for no reason. Dude, I'm telling you, the Walter Walker title run starts now. He may not win the title, but the title run starts now, dude. I'm picking Walter Walker to win by submission against Kennedy Nzechukwu, and he'll probably be ranked 15 after that. Eduardo Mora versus Lauren Murphy. I didn't know Lauren Murphy was still in the UFC. I feel like her last fight was getting fucking smoked by Valentina. Oh, it was getting dominated by Andrade. She beat Miesha Tate in 2022. Dude, this woman hasn't fought in 2.5 years. I'm not picking Lauren Murphy. I'm picking Eduardo Mora, the more active, the younger, the overall better fighter. Eduardo Mora is pretty good. She's very, very physically strong. So she's going to be able to implement and get her takedowns here. She's going to be able to get some good strikes off on Lauren Murphy on the feet. Lauren Murphy's just going to be in there looking like a crack addict throwing a pointless jab and a 2 behind it every once in a while that just does no damage. Eduardo Mora is better than her. She's going to get this one done. I'm picking Eduardo Mora to win. Probably a decision. I'm going to pick by decision. Lauren Murphy doesn't end up really getting finished too often, but I'm going to pick Eduardo Mora by decision here. Jake Matthews versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. This is a actually sneaky banger of a fight. I think this is going to be an absolutely awesome one. Jake Matthews, very good, consistently improving. Good boxing, better grappling than Chidi Njokuani. I will say that. If he can get this to the ground, he's going to look very, very comfortable there against Chidi, and I think we might see that in this fight a little bit. But I think as long as they're on the feet, Chidi's probably going to be winning the exchanges here, using his teep kicks, getting to the clinch, using great knees in the clinch, landing elbows, timing a good knee on a takedown, out jabbing Jake Matthews. I think Jake Matthews is very good. I want to say that. I do think he's very, very good. But I got to feel, when your gut, you have a feeling about something and your gut tells you this is what's going to happen. I just have that feeling that it's going to be a Chidi Njokuani win. I like Jake Matthews a lot. I really do. I think he's very talented, but I think this one might be a little much for him. He schooled Francisco Prado. He beat Philip Rowe. Went to a decision with Morales, and everyone's getting finished by Morales. Then he subbed Flowers, but then he has those moments where a decision with Matthew Semmelsberger. He can fumble fights from time to time. I do think he's kind of locked in, got a good little streak going right now. But I'm going to go with Chidi. I think Chidi's going to get it done. I think the boxing Jake Matthews is going to look better, but I think this is going to be a good fight that goes to decision, and I think Chidi's going to get the nod. So I'm going to pick Chidi Njokuani to get this one done. He's got a little win streak of his own going too, and it's not against bad comp. Zaleski Dos Santos got a finish. He beat Jared Gooden dominantly. Then he had a shitter against Reese McKee. Since he's been down here at welterweight, he's kind of found himself a little bit here. He can be submitted. And that's where I have some, I could see Jake Matthews getting a submission here. This is one that I'm not betting on. 100% would not bet on this fight. I would actually, if I were to do anything, I would probably take this fight to go to decision. But I'm going to pick Chidi Njokuani to get it done. Gun to my head pick. That's the one. And then featuring on the prelims, Chris Curtis making his welterweight debut. I like this move for him. I think it's the right weight class against a Max Griffin. I think Max Griffin can make every fight he's in close, but he will ultimately lose the fight. It's just how it goes. Makes all these fights very, very close. He ends up losing. It's just how many times are we gonna? He got subbed by Chiesa in a weird fight. Split decision win against Jeremiah Wells. Then he lost to Michael Morales. Tim Means, split decision win. Lost to Neil Magny. Like, he's such a. And I know we're on this part of his streak where he's like, well, now it's time for him to get a win because he just lost and he's win one, lose one. But I don't think he's beating Chris Curtis, bro. I think Chris Curtis's boxing's too good. I think he's going to land some good body shots on Max Griffin. I think he's going to land a good right hook. People forget, man, Chris Curtis had a banger of a fight with Roman Kopylov. Banger of a fight. Arguably could have won if he didn't call it. They called the finish, so like no, but he had a banger of a fight with Roman Kopylov, man. I like this cut down and wait for him, even though it is coming off a TKO loss. I think it's going to be all right for him. I think he's going to be able to take advantage of the skill gap that I do believe is between him and Max Griffin. And it's like Max Griffin's not implementing takedowns in this fight. So I don't have to worry about that. I think it's going to be Chris Curtis dominating this one. 30-27, Chris Curtis. Junior Tafa versus Tuco Tokos. I want to take Tuco Tokos, dude. I don't know why. He's tough as nails. He really is. He went to a decision with Navajo Sterling, but Navajo Sterling's been taking people to decisions, you know what I mean? He got subbed by Umar Sy, but Junior Tafa don't got no jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? The thing is, I don't think Junior Tafa's good. I really don't. But I think he's going to be able to get a win in this one. I think he beats Tuco Tokos, probably by TKO in round one. If he doesn't, Tuco Tokos is grinding out a decision win, guaranteed. But I'm going to take Junior Tafa to win by TKO in round one here. They're down to light heavyweight. It looks like Junior Tafa started to take this camp much more serious, take fighting much more serious. I do think he's going to be able to get this one done. He looks like he's in shape. He doesn't have that normal Tafa bro build where they're just fat in the hips and they're just big guys from the Samoan Island area. So everyone's like, whoa, you got to, not Samoan Island. You know what I'm talking about though. You know, everyone's like, whoa, watch out for the Tafa bros. Everyone's going to fucking gaslight you like they're the best fighters in the UFC just because they have some power and they can't do anything else. But I'm going to pick Junior Tafa to get this one done, dude. I think he wins this fight by first round TKO. We just think Tuco Tokos is the layup for him a little bit. Vitor Petrino. And I can see Tuco Tokos getting this to the ground though, but I just got that gut feeling that Tafa's going to win this one. The Tafas have to win one. Right? They're due. Vitor Petrino moving up. A lot of fighters moving to different weight classes on this card, I noticed. Tafa, Petrino, Chris Curtis, and Njokuani came down. And Zechniku moved up. This is an interesting little predicament we have on this card here. But I'm going to go with Vitor Petrino knocking out Austin Lane. I think Vitor Petrino is not as good as people have made him out to be. But he's very dangerous. And I think he's going to be too fast for some of these guys at heavyweight. Now, I do think Austin Lane is actually one of the faster, more athletic heavyweights. I just don't think he's good enough for a Vitor Petrino. You know what I mean? I think Petrino's going to be able to take him down if he wants. I think he's going to be able to land a good left hook and when Austin Lane's lunging in. I think Petrino's going to catch him with a KO here. Austin Lane got knocked out pretty nastily by Mario Pinto. He's been knocked out by Tafa, Janata Diaz. Then he goes to decision by being able to out-grapple Rebelis Despain. I just don't think he can do that to Vitor Petrino here. I think Petrino's going to be able to catch him on the way in with a knockout punch. So I'm going to go Vitor Petrino, check left hook, knockout. I actually think heavyweight's going to be good for Petrino because he was so fucking big at 205. He's going to be able to kind of continue to build into a larger frame here, be faster and more technical than these heavyweights, and we're going to see some success, I think, because he's a big dude. Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Charriere. I want to pick Nate the Train in Tennessee, too. I really want to pick Nate Landwehr because I'm pretty sure he's a Nashville guy. Why don't we just find out if they're going to rob Morgan Charriere? Bio. Okay, anyone want to give me a fucking state, man? Don't really care. He is coming off a brutal loss to fucking Duho Choi. Knocked out Jamal Emmers, sure. That was actually a pretty cool knockout, but he was getting fucking hurt by Jamal Emmers. Lost to Ige, of course. Beat Lingo, majority decision went over on Nama. That was actually a sick fight if you haven't seen it, but I just think Charriere is too good for him, man. I'm going to keep it real. I'd love to see a Nate the Train win, but I think Morgan Charriere is too good for him. I think he's going to be faster on the feet. I think he's going to be more skilled. I think he'll be able to defend the grappling. And I think he's going to be able to find a KO win over Nate Landwehr. I think we see one of the better performances in Morgan Charriere's career here. So I'm going to go with Morgan Charriere. I think he's just quicker on the feet, bro. And I like his striking more. I like the toughness of Nate Landwehr. I like the cardio. I like the ability to push the pace. I like the grappling, but I think this is just one of those fights where Charriere is going to be a little bit of a mismatch for him in the speed and the technique. Maybe even in the power also. So I'm going to take Morgan Charriere to get this one done. I think he gets it done within the first or second round. I think he can find something very quick. Nate Landwehr starts to get a little bit crazy. Charriere stays composed and lands a couple big shots on him to flatline him. Maybe not flatline, but drop him and then land a couple shots for a TKO. I'm going to go Morgan Charriere to win this fight by knockout in round 2. Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. I'm picking Calvin Kattar, dude. I actually think this is an incredibly tough fight for Steve Garcia. I think Steve Garcia is dangerous. He can finish you early, but I think he's going to have a cardio problem. And you aren't just getting Calvin Kattar out of there, bro. No one gets Calvin Kattar out of there. The level of comp this guy's faced and not been finished is nuts. Yusuf Zalal doesn't get finished. Actually wins the third round, but has Yusuf Zalal kind of picking him apart from the outside the whole time, using good footwork, and Kattar's not able to really cut him off. But Kattar wins round 3. Steve Garcia does not cut you off. Steve Garcia is not the guy that's going to pick you apart and bounce on the outside, jab, move, stick and move. Steve Garcia is going to come into a car crash with you, try and land big shots, and try and overwhelm you early for a knockout win. That's how Steve Garcia wins these fights. Calvin Kattar did not get chinned by Max Holloway in a 5-round slaughtering that we saw. He got beat up for 5 rounds, and he did not quit, did not go out once. Others are getting finished by that, no doubt. Ortega got finished literally the same way, but not as bad of a beatdown. Gaethje got finished by Max Holloway. Chan Sung Jung got finished by Max Holloway. Calvin Kattar didn't. So I'm thinking Calvin Kattar's not going to be able. I'm just counting on Calvin Kattar's chin to be tough enough to survive that first round onslaught that will come from Steve Garcia. So I'm going to pick Calvin Kattar in this one. You look, he didn't get chinned by Josh. That Josh Emmett fight should be a win because Calvin Kattar definitely won that fight and they robbed him. But he didn't get chinned by Josh Emmett in a 5-round fight. And he got hit a lot of times. It's not like he was dancing on the outside. They were crashing in the middle, elbowing each other, landing bombs. Josh Emmett hit Calvin Kattar on the chin a couple times. Kattar did not go down. Kattar did not go out. I think Kattar's boxing is better than Steve Garcia's. Technically, defensively it's better. Offensively it's better. I think if Steve Garcia crashes in, yes, Steve Garcia's got some nasty elbows. People forget, man, Calvin Kattar has a fucking sick elbow. He has nasty elbows, dude. If especially against a southpaw coming in, I can see Kattar dipping and just boom, right down the middle, landing an elbow on Steve Garcia. Dude, like Charles Oliveira did on Topuria, honestly. This TKO against Arnold Allen, he blew his knee out. Yes, he was probably going to lose the fight. Allen's just the type of matchup that's good to beat a Calvin Kattar. Steve Garcia's not. Aljo, relentless with the takedown. Steve Garcia's not doing that. Calvin Kattar beat Giga Chikadze. Really, really good stuff from Calvin Kattar to show me that he's going to be able to outlast Steve Garcia in the first round of this fight and be able to win in rounds 2 and 3. Now, I can see the judges just wanting to give Steve Garcia a decision, but I don't think Kattar will let them. Because look at these, like, he's KO'd Kyle Nelson. Ooh. KO'd Seung Young Choi. Ooh, everyone's done it. The KO over Melky Costa's aged great. But like KOing a fucking 22-year-old Chase Hooper, nothing crazy. Shylon Nurdimbeka, like these are not the craziest wins. They're all good KOs, and he's on a great streak. That's why he's getting the Kattar matchup. I think Kattar's going to get this one done. I'm picking Kattar to win this fight by decision here. I think he's going to outlast Steve Garcia and beat him down later as the fight goes on. So those are two underdogs. I'm actually going to pick Gabriel Bonfim here. I like Wonder Boy. I think he's going to look good on the feet for as long as it stays on the feet, but ultimately, I think Gabriel Bonfim's nasty in the grappling. He's going to be able to find a way to get this to the ground. I think he's going to take Stephen Thompson's back. Stephen Thompson, when he gets back to his feet, does give up his back, and Gabriel Bonfim will just jump on your back and snatch a rear naked choke, and that's what I see happening here. I think Gabriel Bonfim's going to take a couple shots early. Maybe they trade some low kicks. Wonder Boy's going to rush in, land a right hand, left hook. Then he's going to try and do it again at some point, and Bonfim's going to have made that read, get a takedown. Stephen Thompson's quick to get to his knees, crawl to the fence, but Gabriel Bonfim jumps his back and gets a rear naked choke within a minute from there. I'm going to say Gabriel Bonfim, round 2 submission. Think round 1, Thompson even wins, but I think Gabriel Bonfim will be able to implement the grappling and get a rear naked choke in round 2. Now, I want to say something here. I think people are overrating the fuck out of Tallison Texiera. They saw him beat the piss out of Justin Tafa, and they're like, dude, this guy's an absolute monster, man. Watch out. We could see him be fighting for the title real soon. This guy's 25 years old. He's 8-0. He has one win in the UFC. His Contender Series fight, yes, he got an impressive finish, but it wasn't impressive for all minute 57 seconds. He had trouble for a bit. And then he found his violent knockout over Arthur Lopez. Arthur Lopez is a fucking tomato can. He's a fucking tomato can. Justin Tafa, I don't care that you know his name. He's 7-5. He is a fucking tomato can. I can't believe I picked him to beat fucking... That's how low I thought of Tallison Texiera to start out. I actually don't think Tallison Texiera is as good as everyone says he is. He's violent. He's dangerous. But I'm not going writing fucking title challenger on this guy because he came off a Justin Tafa knockout. He's 25, insane reach. By the way, Derek Lewis is pretty fucking crazy reach too. That being said, I'm picking Tallison Texiera. But I don't think he's at the level that everyone says he is. I just think Derek Lewis has been out of the cage a little bit too long for my liking. You know what I mean? He's been out since May of 2024. It's been 15 months since Derek Lewis has fought. Yeah, he's probably healed up his body a bunch, but he says that all the time. Yes, he has crazy KO power, and he's not a guy to be able to get held down. But I think Texiera is going to be faster than him. And I think he's going to be able to trade in the pocket a little bit better. And I think he's going to be able to land an elbow. Now, I'm not putting Tallison Texiera in any parlays because this is the exact type of situation where Derek Lewis gets a fluke flatline KO. This is the type of challenger Derek Lewis beats. The guy that has a little bit of a padded record, right? It looks a lot better than it is because he's not fully tested. That's exactly what it was with Rodrigo Nascimento. Jalton Almeida, obviously one of the better guys. Lost to Spivak, lost to Pavlovich. This was during a streak where things weren't going too hot for Derek Lewis. Beat Marcos Rogerio de Lima. I don't know if he's going to be able to do this when he's 40 now. I know he talks a big game, but like when things aren't always going his way, he kind of finds ways to give it up. And I don't think Texiera is going to be able to be... I don't think Tallison Texiera is taking him down. I don't. And I think this is going to be on the feet. Derek Lewis is sitting, plotting, waiting to land a big overhand, land a big shot. He's just unable to find it because of the reach and the size of Tallison Texiera. And I think Tallison Texiera ends up finding a finish, maybe with a kick. maybe Tallison Texiera uses a kick or like a knee in the clinch. Because that's what I will say is, much as I think Tallison Texiera has been getting overrated by everyone, his clinch game's really, really good. So I'm gonna say Tallison Texiera to win this fight by knockout. Let's just run through the picks again really quick. We're going Tallison Texiera, Gabriel Bonfim, Calvin Cater, underdog, Morgan Charrier, Vitor Petrino, Justin Jr. Tafa, Chris Curtis, Chidi Njokuani, Eduardo Mora, another underdog here, and Walter Walker, Mike Davis, and Fatima Klein. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Let's get in some good standing in the pick category here.